You're watching Straight Black Love Talk with your host, DC Radical One, the home of intelligent, mature relationship conversations.
I am your host, DC Radical One. I'm respecting my co-host, Sister Najee. This is SBL Talk, and today we're going to discuss what we have on the screen, who really destroyed the Black family in America, and the reason I want to do this discussion is because I see a lot of this discussion online, especially by men, and the men seem to always point in the direction of the women as if the men had nothing to do with it. So let me see who's in here. BB40, Straight Black Pride, True Brother, Pro Black, and Plant Based. Hopefully, we will get a good crowd tonight. The goal was also to um, put this on Instagram, which I'm going to have to update some things in order for that to take place. So, um, give me a second while I try to do that. And while I also try to find my co host, who I don't see, at least I didn't see while the countdown was struggling mightily. And I'm doing multiple things at once. So, give us a few moments to get ourselves together. Um, all right, so copy that and hopefully make our way to this. But anyway, I think this is an important discussion, and I had an important discussion yesterday, but that discussion was um, that discussion was basically short circuited in essence. Um, I found out that I got a copyright, not a copyright strike, but a copyright. I don't even know what to call it. It's almost like a partial punishment, so that um, I could not get monetization on the video, and I could not get uh, the video was limited in the number of people that could see it. So last night's discussion was we discussed one nation under drugs, and we talked about the drug problem in America. And yeah, so that was the outcome of that, you know. And part of that discussion actually leads into this discussion, which is why I had them back to back. So if you get a chance, go over to the YouTube channel after we finish here, or tomorrow, or whatever, this weekend, when you get some time, and go to the DC Radical One YouTube channel and find that video that we did, the live stream we did yesterday, and check that out. Um, it's still up. They haven't taken it down, but they did give me a copyright infringement notice and tell me that people won't be able to see it. As many people won't be able to see it as normal. So that is that. So um, tonight's discussion. Okay, all right. Our good sister is here. Um, I don't know. I guess she can't present herself on the screen. I guess I have to bring her up, which we'll see how that works. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Well, I don't know how that works. Isn't this amazing? So I'm working with new software, so y'all give me a second. Okay, now I see the sister, but she's not. There she go. Hey, sister, are you there?
Deal, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Now, because I'm not on screen, she doesn't want to show herself on screen now. So that's fine. We'll do it that way because I've never turned on my camera and I don't plan on doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Um, it is what it is. You know, when I get my locks retwisted and all that stuff, then I'll do that. But today's not that day. So let's get started as we normally get started with our discussions, with our straight black pride pledge. Sister Najee, do you feel like doing the pledge today?
Sure, no problem. You
Okay,
ready?
absolutely.
All right. I pledge allegiance to my straight, black, and proud ancestors and the culture and traditions which they founded. I vow to practice those traditions of straight black love, family building, and nation building to the best of my ability, using all of my life's energy, intelligence, and creativity. I also vow to do everything in my power to protect Black men, Black women, and especially Black children from sexual abuse, homosexuality, exploitation, and miseducation as long as I am mentally, physically, and spiritually able. Lastly, I vow to fight against any force, physical foe, ideology, or philosophy that threatens the straight, Black, and proud culture, regardless of origin. This I pledge in the name of my African ancestors and the divine creator. Ashe.
I say, um, we all, for those that don't know, I originally came up with the straight black oath, inspired by Dr. Welsing, and I worked on it with Brother Genie until we got it to the form that it's at now. This is the final form. And I think it's important, really, for us to, as black people, to stand on something. Malcolm X said that if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And I'll be completely honest, in the time, in the last possibly 30 years or so, I feel like we've fallen for not anything. We've fallen for everything. We've fallen for every scam. We've fallen for every bamboozlement. We've fallen for every pseudo movement. We've fallen for every astroturf movement. We've fallen for every ideology. We've fallen for every philosophy. Anything that is detrimental for black people, we've fallen for. And and largely in my estimation, we've fallen for it because we don't stand for anything. You know, it's funny that black people are always talking about standing on business, but what business are we standing on? You know what I'm saying? And I'm asking. That's not a rhetorical question. Like that's a legitimate question. I'm asking, what business have we been standing on for the last 30 years specifically? We only business that I see black people standing on over the last 30 years is we've been standing on being N words. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing positive. That's nothing to what the Europeans say, that's nothing to write home about. We've been standing on being N words, right? We've been standing on, and our women been standing on being B's and H's. And we see the result. We see the condition of our communities. So that is one of the reasons why I wrote the pledge. And if you come to a straight black pride event, this pledge will be said at the beginning of the event. And it will be that way, hopefully, long after I'm gone on to the ancestral plane until global African dominion is established. So, with that, let us move forward. Sister Najee, did you have anything to add about the oath?
Absolutely not.
All right. So the sister has not seen the slides, but the beginning will be familiar for those of you all who normally watch the show. Um, Cultural importance of marriage. Sister, I'll let you do this one because I think I always do this one, and I'll do the next one.
Okay. In traditional African and traditional African American culture, marriage was an expected part of adulthood. In many African societies, you were not considered an adult if you were not married. The family was considered the foundational institution of the society. There was no debate about the equality of men and women, as each had their jobs to do for the society. During enslavement, black men and women would often escape and try to find their spouses and children, risking life and limb. Black people would buy their loved ones with money that they saved up working overtime to get money to buy their spouse's freedom.
And as I always say, it's important for us to remember where we were, who we were, and where we came from, and what we did before this modern time of debauchery, degeneracy, savagery, and inwardism, which is not our culture. It is a foreign culture that's been implanted in our minds, which seeks to destroy our souls. And so that's why I put this information here, because we need to remember. We need to Sankofa to go back and fetch it. You know what I'm saying? And you only have to go back and fetch it if you lost it. And we have largely in this day and time lost, in many ways, we have lost our minds. you know, um, I believe that was Dr. Collins that said that we have lost our minds. And he was building upon what Minister Malcolm X has said. He said, people say, oh, he said that people say, I ain't leave nothing in Africa. And he's like, why you left your mind in Africa? You know what I'm saying? And people will say, oh, well, I'm not from Africa. I'm from here. Well, whatever you had here, you lost that too. Because if you were here, you wasn't an N-word here, but you are N-word now. And this is not the N-word lecture, but I'm going to bang on that because it just shows our insanity. It shows how we have lost our identity, how we have lost our way, how we have lost the path forward because we want to be inwards, and we want to engage in the society that we see around us, which is obviously sick, which is obviously decaying, which is obviously falling apart. And yet we want to be a part of it so bad that we're willing to go down with the ship. And it's obvious that the ship is going down. And I always make the analogy that America is like a great slave ship. And this slave ship has sprung a leak. And the only problem with celebrating the sinking of the slave ship is that we're tied to the bottom, right? So now you have a choice. Do you try to fix the hole in the ship, or do you just break your chains and try to swim away? And that's currently the condition that we are in. So let me move forward to the next slide. Sister, did you have anything that you want to add to that?
I do not.
All right. Now, one thing I wanted to show the coffer lines. We forget about this. This is how this is before we got on the ships, right? This is how our people were treated. This is how, and you see in this, you see black men, you see black women, you see black children. So when we have all this discussion about black men doing this and black women doing that, our enemies don't make any distinction. Our enemies try to destroy us, whether we're black men. Our enemies try to destroy us, whether we're black women. Our enemies are destroying our children right now as we speak, and we're too cowardly to even say anything about it. We won't even talk bad about our enemies, and then we wonder why we're in this condition. But let me read the slide. The slide says the attack on the black family began in the Kaffa lines, where African men and women were separated. This continued in the slave dungeons like Elmina, and continued on the slave ships where men, women, and children were separated. Our enemies know that our strength as a people comes from the family, and it is the family that allows us to pass down our culture and traditions. Ancestral memories passed down preserve our natural survival instincts. Without this, we are sitting ducks for our enemies. BB48 and greetings to integrated school psychologists. I already greeted brother uh, pro black and plant based and black power to brother Vincent Ali. And I'm gonna go see who's on the Instagram side. Sister Naja, you have anything to add to this slide?
Nothing to add to the slide, but on the Instagram slide of BB448 Straight Black Pride to Sister Yahida.
Okay. Is that the sister that says she's often wanted to leave the States but finds it difficult to not be oppressed by African born men?
Yeah.
Yet our brothers here in the States, generally speaking, don't have clear analysis about leaving the States. I'm gonna just be completely honest. 99.95% of black people are spiritually, mentally, and soon to be physically deleted. I've been, I've been holding back. I've been sugarcoating it. I've been,
Have you?
yeah, I think so. You disagree? You think I have? You think I haven't been sugarcoating
No,
it?
I mean, I guess so. I guess so.
I mean, if y'all knew what was in my mind, you'd be like, that guy really love black people? Be voted to Brother Crow. But I'm not gonna lie, for some reason, once again I'm in an ornery mood, and y'all know how I get, so it's gonna be a bumpy ride up in here. But yeah, maybe it's the call for lines, and maybe I'm having a flashback. But I'm good to see people over on the Instagram side. Let me greet some of the people that I saw. I don't know if they're still there, but um, or you can do it, sister. Let me know who you see over there. I saw I saw our sister Shaniqua over there. I saw see Regeneration 180 Ishmael Bio over there. It look like some names have disappeared because I saw some other people, but I don't see them now. But anyway, let us move forward with this slide. Now, things black love and black family have helped black people overcome. Because I think we need a reminder. I think we've forgotten. Enslavement. Let's just keep it 100. There is no way we would not have survived without the families that we had to build. Because this is what people forget. When they brought us over here, right? You would be taken and be put with a different group, a different quote unquote tribe, if you will, a different nation, people with different language groups and things like that. And then you would be brought here, you have to learn the language here and then create new families here, right? And those new families that we helped create helped us to survive enslavement. But what does the slide say? It says many black people fought in the Civil War to end slavery. Let me say that again. Many black people fought in the Civil War to end slavery. We didn't fight in the Civil War to save the nation. We fought to end slavery. Other people did whatever they could to buy freedom for their loved ones. Without black love, it is doubtful that slavery would have ended when it did. Let me say this. What he did, right, pushed the nation towards thinking about maybe the slavery thing isn't a good idea, right? The Haitian Revolution, what they did, right? People forget the Haitian Revolution helped to double the size of the United States because Napoleon had to sell off his properties in order to that the properties because he lost one of his most What's the word I'm looking for? One of the ones that was making him the most money, which was Haiti. So he lost Haiti. He sold what became the Louisiana Purchase, and that roughly doubled the physical size of the United States at that time, right? See, when all you hear all this bad stuff about Haiti and all this bad stuff about Haitians, but literally the United States would not be in the shape it's in, like the physical shape it's in, if not for the Haitian Revolution. Anyway, next, Jim Crow. Many black people survived Jim Crow by shooting back at Klansmen and racial terrorists. Many black men organized to protect their families. A perfect example of this, the Deacons for Defense and Robert F. Williams. We always hear our enemies always tell us about Martin Luther King this, Martin Luther King that, Martin Luther King the other. And I'm not disrespecting Martin Luther King. What I'm saying is a reason why they don't tell you about Robert F. Williams. That for those that don't know, Robert F. Williams was criticized by Martin Luther King because Robert F. Williams was in charge of the NAACP in Monroe, North Carolina. He went the NAACP route. He tried to get white men convicted because they were attacking black women. When that did not work, he was a former veteran of the Korean War. He got his brothers together. They got their guns and they did what they had to do, right? And eventually, Robert F. Williams was exiled from America and traveled to Cuba and then to China and eventually came back to the United States when he was a much older man. Him and his wife, Mama Mabel, and I believe they had two sons. So, shout out to Robert F. Williams. We never hear about him. He's one of the greatest black men of the 20th century. And I just wanted to give him his flowers in this discussion. Now, civil rights. Nearly every civil rights group featured black men and black women working together. And of course, there's so many black women um, that their contributions don't really get talked about. What's our sister down in Mississippi? I can picture her, but I can't even think of her name right now. Excuse me for drawing a blank. Sister Najee, help me out with our sister in Mississippi that
Just
was
any
passing out
passing out what?
the one that was passing out the guns and the pistols and the shotguns when the brothers got there.
Oh,
Fannie
you
Lou
was,
Hamer.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. So shout out to sisters like Fannie Lou Hamer. Um, and you can name some other sisters from the civil rights era, sisters that may be some of your favorites. You can go ahead.
No, I was just going along with what you said. I knew who you was referring to. I'm like, there's no way you missing out on Mama Fannie Lou Hamer. Um, Here on this list, I feel like something I recently learned was um, African people in America being able to not only keep their keep their material wealth and status, but also really thrive while white people were suffering through the Great Depression because we already had our own personal networks and everything. And if we're talking about business, we're talking about black love because the first business is marriage. So I feel like that would have been worthwhile putting onto the list here.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you talk about that because we'll have to do another show on you talking about black economics and black um so like the land we had the towns we had and the things that we had in place before integration. Like there is this discussion as if everything was just horrible during integration. Yes, it was hard, it was difficult, it was bad, we did suffer like oppression and people being lynched and murdered and all types of stuff like that. But we also built and had our own stuff, right? That's an aspect of it that is overlooked. And unfortunately, since integration, we have almost nothing as far as land, resources, um, wealth. Like we've lost all of that. Um, but we can sit next to Europeans on the toilet. So you have anything to add to that, sister?
I think you might have misworded when you were talking about during segregation, things were seemingly terrible, which they were
Oh
terrible
yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
living
During
amongst
segregation,
them, segregate
what did
right.
I
All
say?
of this. You said integration twice. I
Oh,
understood what you
well,
meant
yeah.
for everybody
Things are
else.
terrible during integration too. So
Right. Well, I think the point you were trying to make is things are actually quite worse with integration than when we had segregation where we were actually able to cultivate and really just be left alone. I think it was either last week or at some point in time we had started talking about being able to heal as a people, and being able to heal, you need to not be in the environment. You need to not be in the fire, in the midst of the fire, if you want to heal. So to be left alone and capable of using your own wits to solve problems and just take a second to love up on each other, you can't really do that when you got all this consistent hostility coming from the outside. So yeah.
yeah, I believe that was last week where we discussed that because we were talking about you were informing us about the situation with Burkina Faso and the repatriation efforts and things like that. So
Well, that was the other day.
now, oh,
That was the other day.
was that the other day? Oh, well, okay, well, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't last week. Thank you for correcting me because apparently
No
I'm
problem.
wrong back to back.
No
You
problem.
doing a lot of wrong. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just dribbling the ball off my foot out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, coach, put me on the bench and let me give me some water and let me refresh myself. But greetings to John Public, before they straight black pride, brother Elijah. Greetings to brother Crow, if I haven't greeted you. So those are some of the people that I've seen coming to the chat over on the YouTube side. And lastly, the Black Power movement, Black Panther Party for Self Defense, Black Liberation Army, Republic of New Africa. Some of those movements, I did not mention the Nation of Islam because they kind of fit. They don't fit in any of these categories, but the original Nation of Islam under leadership of Elijah Muhammad, which gave us Malcolm X and others. So these groups, again, we're talking about black men and black women working together. Everyone, our sister, our mama just recently transitioned, Mama Sada Shakur. Everyone talks about her being able to escape and go to Cuba, but the black men who freed her, that story is not often told. It was black men who broke in to the facility and escorted her out uh, with use of firearms and disappeared and got her to safety, in a neo underground railroad type of way. So we want to give them brothers a shout out. I don't remember all the brothers offhand. My apologies. What I will probably do is I will incorporate that into a future program and bring that information. There is a brother on Instagram that I follow that I know he knows all the information. But I haven't spoken to the brother in a long time. So my apologies with not having all of that. And if anybody in the chat has the information on the brothers that broke out Mama Asada Shakur, y'all can let me know. Greetings to Black Panther Mosi and 3 in Combat and Survival over on the Instagram side. Sister Naja, you got anything to add to this slide?
I do not.
You're not very talkative tonight. What's going on?
I wouldn't
Um,
say that. It just hasn't arisen. That's all.
all right. Well, okay. Sister Najee is being shy today. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, the family is an army. The Akan proverb states that life is war and the family is an army. If that is the case, we can now understand why the black family has been the primary target of our enemies' attacks. whether it was the focus on African women by Arab enslavers or the focus on African men by Euro enslavers. Destroying the black family has been the focus of our enemies over the last 1,300 years. The family passes on culture, traditions, language, history, and provides individuals with love, support, acceptance, and spiritual fortitude. It has been the black family, both on the continent and in America, that has allowed black people to survive a centuries long onslaught by multiple enemies. I'd hand it over to you, Sister Najee.
I've always felt that I want an army, and so I didn't know that there was a proverb that specifies that life is war and the family is an army. It's precisely the truth. Is the family being the building block of civilization, and the whole concept of the nuclear family being upheld is, you know, is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense at all. We're not supposed to live in a situation where it's only mama, baba, and the one baby. Um, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy this slide. Thank you. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, of course, I have to give thanks to Bob Baruti because he had I've heard him say it a couple of times that the family is an army. And then I looked, I was like, it seemed like I heard somebody else have an addition to it, but I couldn't remember the first part. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, that really makes sense. And it just goes to show then why, because like the Black Panther Party for self defense is a perfect example of this, of how it was almost like a recreation of the enslavement, the resistance to enslavement, where Panther women eventually said they're only going to deal with Panther men. And so they just literally start building families. Like when people talk about Asada Shakur, Afeni Shakur, um, of course, Tupac, the next generation, um, and some of the other members, they consider themselves family. That's why they all have the same name. And they work together and they, you know, married and procreated together and all of that. And Sada was Tupac's godmother. And so, and Afeni, I'm trying to think, she was pregnant during the Panther 21 trial, which of course that was set up by an agent that was working for the either for the FBI or for New York Bureau of Secret Services boss, or possibly both. I can't really remember, but yeah, they were set up by an agent, and Tupac's mother she was part of the trial, pregnant with him at the time. So the point being that we have enacted this proverb at times, whether we knew of the proverb or not, right? Like you're saying it shows how much the spirit is in us that you were thinking this, not even knowing that there was a proverb to back up what you were thinking. So you were
Yes.
already in the process of living the proverb without knowing of its existence. And so, really, that's a testament to you to show how in tune you are.
I'll share. Absolutely. I remember like being a young girl and that understood too. I need a whole army. I can go find, so that's amazing.
And Brother Crow said, Tulu Shakur was Tupac's stepfather. He made the transition a couple of years ago. Indeed, brother. Shout out to Baba Mutulu Shakur, a strong warrior for our race. It just a revolutionary. That's a revolutionary family. So go to our next slide. It says, "What makes the black family unique?" Sister, I'll let you read this one for us.
All right. While virtually every culture has traditionally valued family, The definition of family in Africa is more akin to the meaning of tribe or nation in other cultures. You see this in Black America, where cousins can grow up together and be as close as siblings. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, even grand aunts and uncles are all essential parts of the Black family. The idea of family in the Black world extends far beyond the limited concept of the nuclear family, which is often discussed in Western countries like America. Sometimes friends of the children in the family get welcomed in the family as honorary cousins. You can even see whole families just adopt each other, and eventually a marriage between the two may cement the families as one family. That's a fact. And like in my household, we don't use the term cousin because that's just your brother. That's just your sister. Just, off top. And treat them as such.
Right. Before they straight black prior to straight black saw. And like for instance, for instance, that's what I'm trying to say. On one side of my family, like we have cousins that we are not related to by blood, but because of the bond between the two families, that they're family. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right.
But you like, and it was like the my grandmother and so the grandparents like were like best friends and hung out and took trips and did everything together. The um the next generation, they were best friends and they went to college together and stuff like that. And then the next generation that grew up under them, and you know what I'm saying. And so i'm like I'm like, man, we not, I literally to the point I got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, are we, are we blood related, or are we just, you know what I'm saying? And to the point, it's just like it don't matter.
Mhm.
You know
Seriously.
what I'm saying? And, like
Right.
you don't even know anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna miss none of their weddings, none of their funerals. You know what I'm saying? When somebody passes away, they gonna be there. And if you get married, then they gonna pop up. You gonna be like, how you know? How you find out? And they were like, why you ain't send me an invitation? Be like, I don't know. I ain't got no excuse. So yeah, we have those type of situations. Like what is considered family, what we consider family in the black world is way beyond, extends way beyond um what I find in other cultures. And that's why when people say now they go back to the continent and they don't feel welcome to things like that, I'm like, well, are you showing them your European side or your African side? Because a lot of times that makes a difference, right? Just like when people come here from the continent, are they showing you their European side or their African side? Weirdly enough, as insular as Ethiopians are, like they're very insular people, right? Every time I meet some Ethiopians, they welcome me. I don't know what it is. Like I have no idea. They, what I'm saying, sometimes they treat me like I'm one of them, and I'm just like, I don't know. I've never been to Ethiopia. I don't think I have any Ethiopian genealogy, you know what I'm saying? But you go to their restaurants, you go to their stores, they like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And I remember one time I worked this job, and they were like, hey man, go over here. And I went there, and there's a bunch of Ethiopian people, and they were just like, we were just, I don't know what it was, but we just got along immediately. You know what I'm saying? It was just the weirdest thing. So the idea that we aren't African or we can't get along with African people, man, I've worked with brothers from Nigeria or whatever, and we laugh. I remember I met a brother, I can't remember where he was from, but he saw me wearing something and he asked me a question. And then we got to talking, and I just started telling him, some of the stuff I know. And I was telling him about you know, Baba Zulu school with African Center School, and he was like, and I showed him some documents. I was like, yeah, this is the elder Baba Suzukulu Zulu, and he was like, wait, what? And then he started getting all excited, and he's like, we started talking about African gods and everything, and man, all that European affection that he had that, you know what I'm saying, when I first met him, all of that stuff fell away. It was almost like a weight lifted off him. Like he's like, oh man, I can be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like his whole personality changed from when I met him. So um our conceptions of family and our connections to people on the continent, like we greatly underestimate that because we're so busy, both from both sides, them and us, we're so busy trying not to be ourselves and trying to be Europeans, that that's what causes the friction a lot of times, and we don't even realize it. Sister, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, two things. It is a necessary wall that African people have to put up, and I mean Africans at home and abroad. We have to put up a wall because there is so much coonery and connections to Europeans that you really do have to kind of keep yourself like, all right, well, how you're not really in the family until I know you in the family. You know what I mean? Like you being able to mention the Zulu and mention the fact that you're aware, or what we like to say now, you're conscious of the state of the Maafa and the state of, you know, what we're going through. Then it becomes a thing of, okay, who I can let down my guard and actually have a real real communication with you, real communion. So that's a fact, and that is true here and abroad. Now, I will say that my experience on the continent in East and West Africa is that it's the same thing. Once you start saying certain things about African history and the trajectory that we want Africa to go in, they will start to get excited. Like, oh yes, I'm glad that you're talking about that. And Africans on the continent clearly have their heart in the soil. And so to start talking about things that, is related to their heart, they do get very excited. And I wish that we could say the same about our people throughout the diaspora. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. I also wanted to mention that, the whole concept of African people, Black American people taking everybody in as their family comes to our detriment a lot of times because, we could go to the far extreme of inviting everybody, regardless of race, into the cookout. But even just not being able to hold a standard set for your family and just accepting everybody. Well, little Tay Tay, he this way, and so we just gotta let him do. And it's like, nah, we need to be able to hold our families. Like if you really family, that means that I know that you're aligned with the principles of our family. Like when Robert Ruti talks about how we need to have family mission statements, that's a part of it, and it should go for the extended family that we invite as well. It shouldn't just be, everybody Black is who I'm rooting for. It sounds good, but at the same time, we could see that, that's not gonna work. We need to be able to, like I said, hold ourselves accountable to principles, and that's what makes you family. So when we were talking about the Shakurs, or even, up in Baltimore, the Futiaus, the PLM, Pan African Liberation Movement brothers and sisters, they're under the same name because they're under the same principles of, scientific Pan-Africanism with Baba Imhotep. So I think that it does come to our detriment sometimes, the concept of just taking everybody in as family, but it is a beautiful thing to see because you can so easily adopt people as families. Like I didn't really have an issue in my time on the continent because, like you said, you put your best foot forward, people are going to meet you with their best foot. And so I'm, being taken care of by people I've never met in my life. Didn't have any contact with them prior to being on the continent. It just so happened that I had a need and they had the solutions for me. And here I am in somebody's house getting fed 3 meals a day with, tea time and all of that. Like it just beautiful, beautiful ceremonious happenings because I put my best African foot forward. So yeah.
And yeah, that's beautiful, sister. Thank you for sharing that with us. Again, this is SBL Talk. I'm your host, DC Radical One, along with Sister Najee. You can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at DC Radical underscore ONE, on OTW2, which is a black owned platform, at DC Radical One. If you are enjoying this discussion and you're feeling invigorated, you can donate via Cash App, $ DC Radical One, or you can donate via Zelle at dc.radical underscore one at protonmail.com. That, of course, is also our email address if you'd like to reach out to myself. Sister Najee, would you please give your information on how they can reach you via social media?
Via social media, you would reach me at Nefer Najee, NFR, Nafarel Najee, on Instagram and Twitch. And we are trying to stay as far away from TikTok as possible because it is now seemingly run directly by the Mossad. If you wanted to cash at me, it's going to be Nefer Najai, NEFERNAJAI, with the little $. And I guess we have a different platform here, but my website is realkkk.com, where we talk about the scientific solution to sovereignty.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, yeah, because we're using this, there will not be a Lost Tapes advertisement tonight because, I'm still learning the Restream app. But I thank you all for joining us here. Let us move forward with the slides. And first of all, I'm gonna stop. First, I'm gonna ask Sister Najee, do she know who these two people are? Sister, do you know who these people are?
No, I can't say that I recognize off of the picture. I've seen the pictures before, but I don't know the names.
I'm going to. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this two different ways. I'm gonna go over to the Instagram side, and the first person on Instagram that identifies these two people, I will send them a copy of one of the lost tapes. My brother Irritated Jenny. So this is your chance to get something for free. DC doesn't do free in 2025. So, but I thought this would be fun to do. So I will give you all, what time is it now? It's 6:59. I give you all to 7:02. And nobody comes up with anything by 7:02, then we'll just keep that to ourselves. And Sister Najee, can you monitor the Instagram for me to see if anybody puts in the correct information? And over here on the YouTube side, I will, same offer. Whoever identifies these two people first, you will get one of the lost tapes sent to you for free. And
Does it work for me? Like, can I do it?
well, you can't beat Brother Vincent Ali because he's already already spilled the beans before I even said it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get that. Yeah, Brother Vincent Ali, he has that. And then Brother Crow was slow on the draw. I knew Brother Crow knew. Or at least I thought Brother Crow knew. But Brother Vincent Ali is like, come on, man, this is easy work. So, Brother Vincent, you got my email. Shoot me an email. Be like, hey, man, send that to me, and I'll send that to you tomorrow. Um, I'm pretty sure. Did you buy? Remind me, did you buy one of the lost tapes already? Let me know because I know you have purchased something before. I don't know if you got the whole set. If you got the whole set, then I had to send you the Dr. Khaled lecture. But yeah, let me know what you already had. And Nobody on Instagram. Oh well. Is it 702? It's 701. Sister Najee, like, man, send me one of the lost tapes. But yeah, so all right. Well, salute to look, Sister Najee gonna come up in the way. Sister Najee gonna go over there to the Instagram and be like, yeah. So you brother, you already bought the lost tape. Okay, so I'll send you the you don't have the Dr. Collar Africa versus everybody, right? Let me know if you have that. Cause I'm running out of things to send you. I do got some other stuff though that no one has seen, just in case. But yeah, shout out to that brother. Um, so let us move forward. But yes, that is Louise Little and Pastor Earl Little, the parents of Minister Malcolm X, exemplary Garveyites, and they have birthed a generation, two generations really, of revolutionaries. Because of course, our dear departed brother, who they took out, Malcolm Latif, he also was a revolutionary as well. I think about that brother a lot, and every time I go to New York to celebrate Malcolm X Day at the gravesite, I always go over to share a word with Malcolm Latif, and of course, our beloved brother and our barber, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. So, brother, say you don't have that. Okay, that's what I'll send to you. So just shoot me an email and be like, "Hey, man, come on, man, go ahead and send that to me, brother." But yeah, thank thank you all for participating in that. This was not a planned. That really wasn't a planned contest, but maybe we'll do more like that. Sister Najee, like, yeah, I know who it is. But yeah, that was fun. So let's move forward. State of the Black family. We've read these statistics on the show more than once, or ones related to it. So again, this one is new, but approximately 44.6% of Black children grow up in a two-parent household as of 2023. Now, here's the thing about this. Um, First of all, I believe that's the lowest number, because I'm in the white community. It's about 70, I think 75%. And you know, as we look at the next statistic, only 33%, like one out of 3% of Black children live in a home with both married with their actual birth parents, or sometimes we have to say alleged birth parents. But so when I look at that, um, we just have to find a way to do better. And what we're seeing now in the 21st century is kind of a, how can I put it, a restructuring of family, where you have, quote unquote, step siblings living together and things like that, and trying to meld different parts of a family into one family. And let's just be honest, that's difficult. It's not easy. They we it's kind of weird. I forgot this show existed for a while, but we're trying to do the Brady Bunch thing. I don't know if anybody remembers that show. It was one of those quintessential shows from the, I don't know if that started in the 60s or 70s. I'm not actually sure how old the Brady Bunch is, but it's an old show. And like a father that had like three sons, I think, and the mother that had three sons, they married each other, and then they all had to live together in a house. And this actually, I don't know if the people were divorced or widows. I actually don't remember the whole storyline, but we got a lot of people trying to do a similar type of thing. So that's kind of the state of where we are with a Black family. Sister Najee, you had anything to add to this?
I do, but baby girl is playing Bougie Bonton in the background, so I have to put it to the side.
All right. Well, after Buju goes off, then we'll go. We'll send it back to you. Um, as we've stated previously, um, only 1 in 4 black women. There's an approximation. 1 in 4 black women, I believe it's like 27%, are married at this time, and about 1 in 3 black men, like approximately 33%. This is abysmal. You know, like we come up with all these excuses and reasons, and people celebrating not being married, so this is not even including people who, like, the percentage of people who are married to non-black people and stuff like that. We've talked about those things. Brother Crow said the Brady Bunch started in the 70s. Okay, I wasn't sure, because I could have sworn like there was, like, maybe, you know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there were like some black and white episodes that I saw, but that probably just me remembering watching it on a black and white TV. Like one of the TVs at my grandmother's house was not color, and it was a small black and white TV. That probably was the TV that I had to watch when the adults were watching real TV. So that's probably why I'm misremembering when it came out. But so thank you for that, brother. So yeah, as I was saying, our marriage rates are just abysmal, and we always forget this. Well, let me just state the obvious: black people invented the concept of marriage. So the idea that we don't want to be married and we can do better without being married, or whatever people are thinking nowadays, it is against our culture. Our culture is to be married. Like, that is a goal. As I said it before, it's it's been our tradition and our culture for 10,000 years. And so, this new thing that we got going on, that really only been a thing since maybe the last 20 years or so. We really have to step away from this so-called modernism that really is not modernism. It's just destruction, wrapped up in a bow, and made to look nice. That's really what it is. So we got to talk about this. Paternity fraud is estimated in the black community to be between 25 and 35%. This is not helping the family. Like, you hear a bunch of men saying they don't want to raise another man's child. And I understand that. Look, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But it's even worse for that to be the case when you don't know it's the case. For you to be married, or you to have a girlfriend, and a longtime girlfriend, and you thinking that you got sons and daughters, or daughters, or a son, or whatever the case may be, and you're living a lie, but you don't know it. But your woman knows it, because she's been with you know Pookie, Ray Ray, or the cable man, or you know what I'm saying? Whoever the case may be, the um apartment maintenance man, or whoever. Let me tell you something. If you live in an apartment, man, you got to watch that apartment maintenance man. I'm just saying, like, that dude. Hey, them dudes be getting it in. You got to watch that dude. Look, I ain't telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. You got to watch them dudes, man. You know, and talk to some of them. They got some stories for you. You got to. They're like what the cable and the Verizon dudes used to be back in the day, like back in
And
the
the
early.
milkman.
That's way back in the day. The milkman. That you going way, way, way back. Got to watch them dudes, man. Got to watch them. But yeah, anything to add to this slide so far, sister?
Yeah, I wanted to add, as far as, people being against marriage, the common thing now that I'm seeing is women coming from a pseudo scientific perspective, saying that women that get married end up dying earlier because of the amount of stress. And it's a white woman specifically. It says the worst thing a woman can do for her health is get married, because it's, for whatever reason, by their logic, is going to make for an earlier demise. And when I think about that, I think of all of the couples that reach well into their 90s, just the two of them by themselves. And there's some that are like super, they're still, lovey-dovey with each other, but there's also those that are well into their age and still have their arguments and bigger and all of that, but love each other at the end. It's like, how do you make the how do you make that compare? Like, what do you make of that then? To be able to say that it's gonna make you kill over and die if you get married. It's just like you finding anything.
Yeah, that's sheer insanity. Like my grandmother, she lived well into her 80s, even though my grandfather passed away as a relatively young man, I believe in his 50s. But my grandmother, she soldiered on for another 30 years with her children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. Like she got to see great grandchildren. And so
Right, exactly.
she she brought much joy to us, and I hope we brought some joy to her. We brought some sorrow to her as well. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You know what I'm saying? Some people made some choices that weren't the best, including me. Um, but she loved us deeply, and I'm thankful to be her grandson, and she brought me great joy. And just thinking about her, it chokes me up. That was my lady. That was my grand lady. She was a lady in every aspect, very dignified and intelligent. But she loved sports, and she would, get a little rowdy when sports was on. So you know what I'm saying. So if y'all ever look at me, you ever see me in a private moment and I'm watching sports, and you like, oh my god, I didn't know that this side of him exists. It was passed on genetically. Ain't nothing I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? you know. Uh, it is what it is. So, you had anything else to add?
No, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, this paternity fraud thing, man, is a. I heard in Jamaica and Nigeria, like this is a problem. Like they make what's going on here in America look like child's play. So, yeah, for those brothers and sisters in Jamaica, like watch out. that's all. That's all I can say, man. Just watch out.
I mean, if
And
you
it
think
said,
about it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, sister, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you think about it, with how can you expect a woman that can't look in the mirror and value herself and has to bleach her skin and do, how can you expect her to be real about what she got going on?
Nah, that's real. That's definitely real. So you know, self respect, man. And if you deal with a sister that don't have self respect, you got to understand that the chances of her doing something disrespectful to you are high. And one thing I do see, more and more young men are realizing that, and they're, unfortunately, some of them will come to the conclusion, well, oh well, I'll just step outside my race. Those women respect themselves. Let me tell you something, man. Um, this show, I might be about to knock the monetization off, but it's a lot of it's a lot of white 304s out there. I'm gonna keep it 100.
It's mostly
Okay,
304
like
behavior coming from that
like
race.
like this idea that these women are pristine and pure and this and that. Hey man, stop the cap. You just you just stop the cap. Look, you can go back to the Gold Girls Gone Wild thing back in I I guess that was the 90s. I don't remember when that started. Just sort of came out of nowhere. We started seeing this, outrageous, lascivious behavior. Um, I went to school with some European females. One of them, I remember like the first girl in school that was pregnant. It was a European female, and everybody was like, shocked, like, what in the world? Like, how you get pregnant? But what I'm saying, we knew the process, but I'm just saying. And so this idea that you're gonna step outside your race and find this quality woman, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm saying it ain't automatic like these dudes be saying. You got something to add to that, sister?
Unfortunately, the young girl that got pregnant at your school, It might have been an issue in the house because that's also common over on that side
And
of the fence.
let me tell you something. I wish I knew the name of this movie, but it dealt with that. You know, man, these movies they be heavy. Black Snake Moan dealt with that, right? The I don't know if anybody saw that. It's a real good movie. Samuel L. Jackson, and I forgot I forgot the other the actress that played the daughter. That was she was out of control, and then of course when Samuel L. Jackson of course has to rescue the European female or whatever, and cast the devil out of her and everything in essence. But we came to the it was revealed in the movie that she had suffered trauma from someone in her household, like her mother's boyfriend or something, and she had told her mother, and her mother had ignored it just to keep a man. So we're familiar with that story in our community as well. But to your point, that movie dealt with that, and it was another movie. I wish I knew the name of it. With the little the little blonde chick that was that played Jack Bauer's son. I mean Jack Bauer's daughter in 24, which was one of my favorite shows. You don't have any idea who I'm talking about, do you, sis?
I sure don't.
Okay, yeah, I can't remember that actress's name. I haven't seen her. It seemed like she kind of fell off the face of the earth, but she was real popular for a hot minute in the 2000s, like the early and mid 2000s, I think. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean that what you said is highly possible. It is a major problem in this country, not just in their or our communities. And lastly, it says while many black men are dating single mothers, the number of men marrying single mothers is believed to be dropping, not just based on the rhetoric, but just because a lot of black women ain't getting married. Period. So, uh, Brother Crow said Christina Tucci is the European actress that played in Black Snake Moon. Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. I could not remember. I just know she was almost not recognizable. They dyed her hair and everything like that. But that was really an excellent film. Other than the fact that the Negro has to rescue the European female, but the subject matter was needed. I also recommend Brother Crow. You help me out with the movie with Denzel Washington and the brother that was in the military, and he revealed that he had suffered sexual trauma, and he got at the end he got to meet his family. Help me out with that. It's an excellent movie, but I cannot remember the name. But if y'all know, help me out with that. But meanwhile, we gonna move on to the next slide. It says, "Who broke the black family?" All right, we get into the meat of the matter. The black women were more likely to be married than I mean, that's supposed to say. Oh man. Hey, where's the editor at, man? Come on, man. Somebody fire the editor. He's not doing his job. Sister Najee, do you know who the editor is for that? Anyway, it's supposed to say black women were more likely to be married than white women up until the late 1960s. Ironically, this is right when the Black Power movement came under attack by the FBI. This is also right along the time that the modern feminist movement came to prominence. And brother Vincent said Antoine Fisher. Thank you, brother. Yes, that movie, Antoine Fisher, Denzel Washington, and Derek Luke. That's an excellent film. Sister Najee, you have anything to add to this right here?
No, I did have something on the last slide, but you moved on, so we just gonna keep moving. It's fine.
Nah, go ahead. We can go back. Go ahead. Add on to that. You the co-host, so we
Well,
here to hear
for
from
the
you.
last bullet, talking about black men dating single mothers, but not marrying single mothers, I think a lot of that has to do with the rhetoric that you pushed the other day, which is that to marry a single mother and not have your own children will be rewarding bad behavior.
Oh, the rhetoric that I pushed the other day. All right, well, let's get into it. We knew sooner or later it was gonna get on going with it. I'm gonna turn my mic off. Go on, sister.
No, that's all that is. I think that is where that comes from. It's the concept that I would be now rewarding this girl who has made a mistake, and she, needs to just go on and suffer the consequences of her actions. I'll date her because, I like her, but I couldn't possibly marry her because that would be rewarding bad behavior. Isn't that what you said?
I was talking about Sierra. I ain't say all women.
No, I think you kind of
I
said
said
everybody. We probably have to run the tape back because Sierra is what, but a microcosm of the macrocosm of the situation. She's not the only single mother that
I know she's
has.
not the only single mother, but
Okay, so I
I
think
said
that.
see y'all been waiting for us to have our first disagreement, but apparently we're gonna have it right here. So all right, let's get on with it. You know what I'm
How could this
saying?
be the first one when we disagreed on that episode? That was the that was when we talked about Sierra. That was the great black wife shortage, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the great black wife shortage. So
Okay.
for those of you all who been waiting, like, yeah, these people be pretending to get along, man. Black men and black women don't get along. Yeah, I want to see when them argue and they keep it real. Go back to the great black wife shortage and come here, because it's obvious that our sister feels some type of way about this, right?
I mean, you
So
were right to say Fister. You were right to say that.
yeah, our fighting sister. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If she was where I
No,
am, well, she'd be swinging on me right now. But go ahead.
because it's just terrible. Because if you truly feel that way, if you truly feel that way about the woman, you shouldn't be dating her. With date for what? You're not dating her. You're wasting her time. And then people, will say, "Oh, if a woman has children, don't even because she too serious. She just wants somebody to come in and be the father immediately." And it's like not necessarily immediately, but what you're not gonna do is waste my time. You know, because what is the point of dating then? Anyway, that's all. I just wanted to touch on that topic. We can move on.
All right. Well, we're gonna do a show. We're gonna end up doing another show on that because you know, it's obvious that the sister obviously represents more than herself in this, and some other people want to get that out. But we shall move forward. Oh man, I'm using this. I don't have the videos. But anyway, I'm gonna bring up a videos documentation. Who broke the black family? So I did talk about the feminist movement, but on the other end, the 1970s, black exploitation movies became popular, and they often downplayed the importance of family while making pimps and hustlers popular. The ideal black man went from a family man to a revolutionary man to the Mac or pimp. This was a direct result of psychological warfare and propaganda from Hollywood. This aesthetic would be revived and modernized 20 years later through hip hop. Look, listen, when we look at feminism, obviously the modern feminist icon is Gloria Steinem. But the person that sparked it up was Betty Ann Friedan with her book, The Feminist Mystique, right? What kind of name is Friedan and Steinem? I will let you all put it in the chat. Now, we go to Hollywood. We look at people like Sig Shore and some of these other people that help push the black exploitation. Who controls Hollywood? Who founded Hollywood? Right? They wrote a book and had a documentary called An Empire of Their Own. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you all, you know, um, fill that in. So what I am going to do is I am going to bring up a video so y'all can see, because this was literally 100 years ago. Not literally 100 years ago, but like what 50 years ago that some of these things were brought to the table, and I wanted to show examples of the type of media and propaganda that was used But mind you, in the midst of us fighting for our freedom, in the midst of the Black Power movement. So I want to show y'all the type of propaganda that was being put forth. So give me a second. Um, okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, brother Vincent Ali, you beat me to the punch. I'm about to load that one one up as well. Yeah, I didn't forget about that. The brother didn't. He been reading the notes.
Being rich and black means something, man.
When you got nothing and you want everything, you gotta get to be the Mac.
I'm gonna be the meanest Mac who ever lived.
Everything you need to know you got to get from me.
They're talking about you. I heard niggas be going, go there, go there.
If there's one thing tougher than being the Mac, it's staying the Mac. They got a contract out on you.
I'm gonna make you look like an ad for Swiss cheese.
The next time I hear about you trying to set me up, I'm gonna blow your heart out your body, sucker.
Who is the big man for 1972?
Goldie, you're getting too big.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mac of the year, Goldie!
Make way for the Mac, the biggest and the best. Rated R.
Now, I just wanted to I wanted to play those because I know if you under a certain age, you never seen it, you never seen this stuff before, right? I remember I used a one of that, what you call it, one of the trailers in a lecture. And I was like, man, I've seen this movie, but I never even thought about them having a trailer. And so you have to understand the time context of when this is taking place. The Panthers came out in October 66. They shot down our brother Fred Hampton in December of 1969. And I believe these movies came out and they were filmed in 71 and released in like 72 and 73. And there's way more than this. And so in the midst of us fighting for our freedom, in the midst of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, Bobby Seale, and those brothers being like the epitome of manhood to young people and the young women, right? In the midst of that, they come out with these movies, and you can see, like we talk about getting the bag now. You can see the root of the getting the bag philosophy, the individualism, the I'll do anything for money philosophy being placed in the minds of our people in 1971, in 1972, in 1973, at the same time that people are literally fighting and dying for the liberation of black people. And instead of those people being the people that are propped up and admired and being shown as the people who are being uh, the people you should follow, they made these fictional people, right? These caricatures of black people, these black people who are not representative of our history and our culture and our traditions. And they put those people out in front of us as the people that should be emulated. Sister, you have anything to add to that?
No, that time period honestly is for me, and what I've seen of it, it looks like it looks like a lot of satire. It's hard for me to know what's to be taken seriously and what's not. And I think because I've seen the actual satire making fun of the black exploitation movies, it's hard for me to even know which one, like, what's what, for real, for real. Because my addition to the movies would be like Pootie Tang, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Nah, um, the Mac, and what's the other one I just played? No, those were serious. Shaft, that was serious. Like Shaft was like the originator of it, but Shaft was a little different. It's like they made Shaft to see how black people would react. We accepted it, we liked it, and then they're like, okay, well, let's add the negative spin to that, and then that's where you got the Mac, and that's where you got the just all the Dolomites and all that Willie Dynamite. Oh, it's just a whole vast array of stuff. And then of course you would get what was our sister's name? She would get her movies. Help me out, brother.
Pam
Y'all
Grier?
help me out. Pam Grier, right? She would get her movies. Like Pam Grier had a set of movies, and of course, like the original Superfly, they remade Superfly and see if we fall for it a second time. But yeah, so those were serious movies, and we were happy to have movies with all black people and black heroes. And what they did was real slick, because what they did was to show these men specifically as if they were being rebellious to the system, but they were being rebellious to the system to get paid, not to help, you know what I'm saying? So to advance their individual cause, not to help the people. And if you ever seen the advertisement for Cotton Comes to Harlem, which I know I have on my computer, but I'm not going to show that one. Um, they make fun of the revolutionaries, and the police are the good guys in that. In that, you have two black cops who are detectives. So I just wanted y'all to see the propaganda, and we think of propaganda in this day and time through social media. And what I'm saying is this propaganda been working on our people for a easy half a century. And really, you can go even further than that. Jeannie got some stuff from, it might be 100 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's aimed at black people and disparaging our character and making us look like buffoons. So again, I'm your host, DC Radical One. This SBL Talk. You can follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1. You can donate via Cash App, $ DC Radical One. And you can email me at dc.radical1 at protonmail.com. I'm with my sister Najee. Sister Najee, let us know where they could find you.
At Nefra Najee, Nafril, NFR Najee, NAJ on Instagram and Twitch and Rumble as well. I always forget about Rumble. Cash App is the $ NEFER Najee NAJAI. My website is realkkkkk.com.
And oh, my bad. Go ahead, sis.
No, I was gonna say, I guess the modern day version of what you're describing with the black exploitation movies would be Black Panther the movie, because it was a thing of us accepting it because we're just happy to see something like that, and they were able to kind of put within it the propaganda that ultimately they wanted us to accept in the long run.
Oh, the Black Panther movie was going to be actually worse than that. Shout out to our brother Ryan Coogler for keeping out because they were trying to push the homophilia in that, and he put some RBG and some things in it.
Well, they were managed to put pedophilia on the back end of it, so only but so much.
What, the first movie?
Yeah,
What you referring to? Because I don't recall.
they the merchandising, all of the merch that came out for the children had the pedophilia symbol. Like the FBI put out all of the pedophilia symbols, and the main symbol that pedophiles use was the symbol that's all over the Black Panther merch, whether it be like the shirts, the
Oh, okay. So you
mask,
weren't
all that.
you weren't talking about the actual film. This is stuff they did after the film was out.
I mean, it goes along with the film, yes. So, we're happy about the film. What am I gonna do now that my black child has seen this? I'm gonna go to Target and I'm gonna get this shirt. I'm gonna go to Walmart and I'm gonna put up the posters and the bed sheets and the this and the that. All of it. It went along with the first movie.
Okay, so see, I didn't know that. I don't remember that because I wasn't purchasing no merch. I saw the film. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. And then I saw, brother Jenny broke it down, and and somebody else, one of Dr. Wilson's students broke it down. He's like, oh wow, okay, I see the other stuff in here. Man, should have known better. But so yeah, so thank you for that, sister. Thank you for putting us up on game. There's good and bad in Ryan Coogler's last movie. Unnecessary vulgarity and inwardism that wasn't existing amongst our people at the time. And of course, the interracialism, even though she was supposed to be, I don't know, like 1/4 black or whatever it was.
Whatever, yeah.
So yeah, quadroon or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I mean, you can't expect your enemy to stop attacking you in ways when it's benefiting them. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So shout out to brother Vincent Ali for the cash app. I appreciate it, brother. And if y'all could please put a few cowrie shells in the pocket of our sister Najee. She does a great job and has really helped enhance the show, in my humble opinion. So
Appreciate you, Brother Vincent.
thank you, brother. We appreciate you. So we're going to move up in time. More attacks on black people. In the early 1970s, a heroin epidemic began to sweep through the urban areas where black people lived. New York City and Washington, D.C. were hard hit and epicenters, as well as other cities. This epidemic had a devastating effect on black youth and on soldiers returning from the Vietnam War. Sister Najee, are you familiar with any of this information?
Via movies and personal family experience, I am aware of the heroin epidemic being an issue.
Okay. And the Brother Crow said, Kush the Black Unifier did a lecture about Hollywood and the Negroes. Yeah. Brother Kush, strong warrior for the race. He is basically Brother Genie. No, he brought Brother Genie into organized race work. So shout out to Brother Kush the Black Unifier. That's a great brother. And I have gotten information from him and learned from him as well. That's a fantastic brother. Shout out to him. Yeah, so we talk about the crack epidemic because it's more in the line of time that It's more recent. I just put it that way. And no matter where you were in the country, it came to affect you eventually. You know, I was I was talking to a sister. I said the thing about the South, like we make a joke that the South is late with stuff, but even with the crack thing, the South was late. Like when it was going ballistic in the 80s and in the cities, they were kind of insulated. And then all of a sudden in the 90s, in the early 2000s, it's going buck wild. And we looking around like people still selling and smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show that it was like a slow, that many times these drug things are like a slow moving wave that just kind of rolls over our community, bit by bit and piece by piece and area by area. And we don't really take into account how it affects the community, how it devastates the community, and how it destroys the community. And we don't look at it as an attack on black people, but that's what it is. Like, we not okay, maybe with the heroin thing, yeah, there was a connection, but we wouldn't fly into Colombia to get no drugs uh from El Chapo and what's the guy, the Colombian dude? I can't think of his name, but anyway, y'all understand what I'm saying. Now it says this, along with the FBI's assault on groups like the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army, led to the decline in organized militancy in the black community. Individualism, materialism, and the American dream became more popular in the black community in the 70s with the help of the black exploitation, the heroin, and the integration that took place. Oh, brother Vincent said, brother Kush, aka the Black Unifier, is how I found out how powerful you all were up in the Northeast. Hey, man, Kush is a warrior, bro. That's all I can say. Yeah, thank you, brother Crow, Pablo Escobar, man. Yeah, Pablo Escobar and those people. But yeah, again, shout out to brother Kush. And I know some of y'all are like, what is this they talking about? Integration, prelude to extermination. By the 1980s, integration was being established, especially in the schools. For the first time since the end of slavery, large numbers of black children were being taught by white people, especially white women. This was often detrimental for black boys. We do not talk about this. This is an aspect of history we do not talk about. And I'm gonna definitely send this to our sister because she's a teacher. We established our own schools coming out of slavery, and when we start to build towns and settlements for ourselves in this country. The teachers of our children were largely our women and some of our men. We taught ourselves this language. We taught ourselves to read. We taught ourselves like instruments like the piano and the banjo. We taught ourselves skills like how to make bricks and build things and to clear land and to grow food. And we taught ourselves these things. We taught these things to our children. We did not have to go to our enemy to teach our children. This was in coming directly out of slavery. Yet here we are, hundreds of years later, depending on our enemy to teach our children when we had the capacity to do it 200 or 150 years ago. The idea that we can't teach our children now just doesn't make any sense. Please, sister, add on to this discussion.
I can see where people's self-esteem is low and feeling like they can't educate their children because either they have the mentality that, well, I didn't do well in school, so I don't have no business teaching my children or homeschooling, or I don't have a degree, so if you work at the public school, you got to get a degree, so I don't have my degree, so I can't do it. And all of that is missing the grander point, which is that Western education does not have the curriculum or capacity to psychologically develop a child to be empowered enough to overcome the traps against us, the trap falls against us. I think it comes with the political education of understanding that we're not homeschooling for the purpose of um, we are homeschooling for the purpose of empowering the children, and that cannot be done at the school. And so you have to overcome the whole idea of I can't do it because I don't have my degree, or I can't do it because I didn't do well in school. It's like most likely you didn't do well in school because the African within you was rebelling against the European nonsense that they were trying to, push onto us. So there's that. There's also the people that just flat out don't like their children. And I think that that's a larger number than what we really want to come to terms with. There's a lot of people that do, and you could tell from the I think it was from the COVID lockdown where all of the children were home and the parents were saying, "Oh, I finally understand why the teachers need more money, and I finally understand, what the teachers are going through." And it's like, so you had to have the government and everything be locked down for you to know what it's like to be in a room with your child for a full day. And there be no, oh, I can't wait till the weekend's over so I can just push them back onto the school. Like you don't really like your children. And I'm not saying that a lot of these children are likable, because some of them aren't. But they aren't likable
Well,
because you didn't do your job as a parent. You know what I mean?
well, sister, can I interject real quick? Some of the people don't like their children because their children is manifesting parts of themselves that they haven't addressed.
That
So they
too.
don't
And
like
that's
their
what they're
children
supposed to do.
because their
Right.
children. You don't like your children because your children are a lot like you, and
Mm-hmm.
so
That's real. That's very real. But that's all a part of the spiritual journey of being a parent. So if your child is, developing the traits, or just inherently has the traits that you choose to ignore about yourself, you can't push it on the child and not like the child because of it. You got to address it in yourself. Like it's a spiritual journey. That's why we're supposed to have children. Like that's the part of continuing the cycle. Let the circle be unbroken. We're supposed to have children. We're supposed to, go through the hurdles and the patterns and all of that. That's all a part of it. So, but
don't leave
anyway,
out the marriage part while we're talking about the having the children part. We're supposed to supposed to do the marriage part
it's
too.
supposed to, it's supposed to see you just causing problems. Of course, they're supposed to be
No, I'm not
together.
causing problems. I don't want people to take what you're saying and be like, yeah, she said I'm supposed to have children. Let me
I
go
mean,
ahead and
because you are, but
drop
it
it off
is
and
supposed to
let me go
go.
ahead and
You
drop it
supposed
off in Shorty. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's
I'm
supposed
not,
to go. It's supposed to go in the right order. You are correct. Like I think it was Bishop Maponga out of South Africa that said that every man should have two wives and let the first wife be land. First wife being land means that you have the ability to take care of your second wife and all of the posterity that comes with it. And being able to feed, being able to provide the nest that the mother needs. Like if you truly love the woman that you're having children, if you truly love the woman that you are having children with, then you would not want her to go through pregnancy and motherhood stressed out. You would not want her to go through pregnancy and motherhood in the understanding that she has no power over her body when she goes to the hospital to have this baby. Like if you truly loved her, you would take the initiative to make sure that you have a sovereign state for her to nest and to create the proper environment, to go through these changes. But anyway, going back to what I
yeah,
was saying.
I mean, there is the ideal, and then there is the real, and that's why I don't have any children. Because one of the reasons, because I could not only not create the ideal, but I could not find the ideal. And you can make the argument that trying to find the ideal was a flaw. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
people could possibly say that, right? I remember I was at a Black Love event, and a brother had a poem about that, and it was real deep. And I was listening. I was like, I was like, yeah, fam, that's deep. Um, and I could relate to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know. You remember when in the Matrix when Morpheus asked Neo something, and Neo was like, "Yeah, because I don't like to feel like I'm not in power over my life or something like that." And he was like, "I know exactly how you feel." You know what I'm saying? That's how I was when that brother was saying that poem. I was like, "Yeah, nah, I know exactly how you feel." So,
I mean
okay,
that kind of goes back into the low key argument we were having earlier of
were we having an argument?
no, it wasn't. That's why I said low key. You said that it was an argument. You said people would take it as a disagreement, but
Yeah, because I'm trying to hype it up so people come look. They like, oh, pro black Negroes is arguing. Let me go see because they can't wait.
don't nobody even want them views for real. Really don't.
I
But
want them
no,
views
like
because it was putting shekels in my pocket.
you go with shekels. Nah, I think that I
You
think
know
the
I
whole
said shekels.
concept of it being a perfect or it being a the ideal, it it does cause, like, we already have everything stacked against us. You're never gonna have, like, for example, we look at the marriage numbers. We look at the number of women that are having children way late into their years, and then on top of that, they're having babies basically by themselves just because they want to hurry up and have a baby. And like all of those things come from, just waiting on that perfect, that's and it's just
Or
I don't
or
know.
and or waiting on God to send a man that doesn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
That
it's all in the
too.
same spirit. It's all in
That
the same
too.
spirit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's important. I said this on the previous episode. It's really important to love up on the people that you have because it's not no it's not fun out here. This is not a game. And if you have a family that may not be perfect, but y'all are all healthy, y'all are all sane of mind, to hopefully not too much menticide going on. Like it may be that is the cross you have to bear. But anyway, going back, like I said, I was referring to what you were talking about as far as, the people really not wanting to homeschool because they don't like their children. They don't like children, period. And that is I think that's a big reason why a lot of people choose not to do it is because their mindset is I ain't got time for all that. Because it is frustrating to be dealing with children that you ultimately never really cultivated a relationship with. You forever just took them to the daycare and then you just took them to the school. Now the school come pick them up and it's always been the school. So you really don't have that relationship outside of like the Facebook parenting of, we go and we take pictures on vacation and I post them and I just tell my children to smile and I give them their tablet and enough Roblox to leave me alone. It's like that's not actually parenting. You don't actually know your child. You're not developing them as a person. They are what is essentially an NPC. You've not accessed the soul. You don't even know if your child has a soul for real. You don't even talk to them in any kind of way. So I think that's why people don't homeschool.
All right. Well, let me get to the next one. It says in the 1970s, racial quotas began being mandated by legislatures and the courts. By the early 1980s, employers began hiring black women in larger numbers because they were counted as two minorities, as a woman and as a black person. The downside of this, of course, was that the black men were sometimes left out of the job market. So, this is something that a lot of people don't know or don't remember that. And it's not that black women didn't work before like that. There's it's this weird thing in this. I guess it comes out of feminism where a lot of black women, younger black women, act as if working for white people was an accomplishment when in reality our grandmothers, their great grandmothers, they worked for white people before. The only difference is that you went from being a domestic or something like that, in essence, a maid, to being a secretary, which is like the made for personally for the European male, as opposed to working for the European female. Like it's really the same thing, but it looks more upscale, it looks more distinguished because you get to wear maybe you get to wear business attire, and you get out of the house, and you get to go downtown and work, and you get to, like, maybe you get taken to a restaurant where you get to take notes when they're having a meeting in a restaurant, as opposed to just in the office and things like that. And so, oh, go ahead, sis.
What you're saying is that black women wanted to work with the white man so they could get out the house and get dressed up?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the opportunity was presented during the late 70s, early 80s because of the racial quota thing. I ain't saying what the women wanted to do. I'm saying it was presented to them. And we were warned about this by Elijah Muhammad in his message to the black man. He said, don't have your woman sitting around working underneath the European, because things is gonna happen and then you're gonna be mad. But I'm telling you what it is, because I'm telling you how the European is. So this is we just going with the historical documentation of what took place. So you got anything else to add to that?
No, it's just that's what it sounded like. I can almost see I can see the women feeling that way of like, well, at least I get to go out and get dressed up, and now have my own money to buy more clothes, to get dressed up, to go out and make this money and get dressed up to go out. Like it's just a cyclical thing.
That was Sister Now Jay said that. I ain't say but that's funny. I wasn't even thinking about it that way. But yeah, so I mean, that was a thing. Like when it dawned on them, like, wait a minute, I can just hire a woman, I can hire a black woman, and I got two people for these quotas. And I'm like, yeah, just do that. You know what I'm saying? Like they'd be happy to do that, and I fill these quotas, and people can't say I'm racist, and let's move one of them up, find a smart one and move her up to a position close to mine, and then we can talk about how progressive we are and this and this and that. So this is way before DEI. Like people be talking about DEI, like it's really just they rinse and repeat the process over and over, and we excited to go along with it, go along to get along. So yeah, you had anything else to add, sister? Sister, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. It's I'm looking at it from what it is now on backwards, and it's just kind of depressing, honestly. It's just kind of depressing.
Greetings to brother Russell G. Lewis. So yeah, so if you don't have nothing else to add, I'll go to the next slide. Hip hop replaces black culture. I'm going to do a show on how hip hop replaced black culture. Don't y'all don't let me forget. Y'all hold me to it. It may end up being a lecture, but people don't like lectures nowadays, or they don't want to pay for them, or I don't have the clout that I used to have, and I don't really have a venue. So yeah. But anyway, in the early 1970s, a youth movement broke out in the Bronx, specifically the South Bronx, New York, that would become known as hip hop. This movement originally consisted of 5 elements: MCing / rapping, DJing, breakdancing or breaking, graffiti, and knowledge. Now, originally, my understanding that it was the 4 elements and then the knowledge came after, but I'm not here to argue that. So any hip hop heads to go back in the day, y'all can correct or whatever in the comments. This movement was spread across the city in all of the 5 boroughs and out into Staten Island, Long Island, and all that. And eventually out into New Jersey, Connecticut, and that whole tri-state area, and then trickle down to down the East Coast, Philadelphia, DC, so forth, so on. After hip hop began spreading nationally out to the West Coast, LA, Oakland, so forth, so on, it became national youth culture. Each region put their own spin on hip hop, but the original elements, other than rapping and DJing, began to be forgotten. The record labels monetized rap and began to change the course of the music in the late 80s, but I'm saying the early 90s. The rise of NWA and the Two Live Crew opened the door for more vulgar expression through the music. The reason that I brought up hip hop is because we do not, like, when I hear people, and it threw me off guard, right? When I first heard people talking about doing it for the culture, I'm like, doing it for the culture. And these were black people. And I'm like, doing it for what culture? Because it was obvious they weren't talking about black culture. And then I started seeing like Hispanic dudes talking about doing it for the culture. So I'm like, all right, well, hold up now. Wait a minute. I'm confused. Because if black people doing it for the culture and Hispanic people doing it for the culture and they're doing the same thing, what are they doing? And then it dawned on me, what they're talking about is hip hop. So the generation, like starting really that generation before me, like before me, I guess you would say, yeah, they weren't Generation X. I guess like the end of the baby boom generation, like the people that started hip hop, I guess, right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And then the Generation X is really like the hip hop generation. That generation took on hip hop as, in essence, the culture, with the manner of speech, the way they dressed. I guess there's no food connected to hip hop, but that changed the way that black people express themselves, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we thought. And it has not been to our benefit, because if you look at where it was, right? So if you look at Stetsasonic, you look at Public Enemy, you look at even to a degree the Native Tongues and Paris and Poor Righteous Teachers and Lakim Shabazz, King's Son, Brand Nubian, all of these groups, right? They were all kicking some type of knowledge. They were all kicking some type of pro-blackness. Some of them were kicking some of them were talking about who the devil was, right? And they were all representing these varying understandings of blackness. And X-Clan, of course, right? One of my favorite groups when I was young. That first X-Clan album is still one of my favorite albums of all time. That mixture of Brother J with their production, where they were using Parliament Funkadelic and Fela and these other people, absolutely phenomenal. That first album is phenomenal. However, right, once they dragged us into it, right, once they captured our minds, like I remember Rakim. I tell people all the time, Rakim's Move the Crowd video influenced me in ways that I didn't realize until I like rewatched the video as an adult. Like if you go back and watch the Move the Crowd video, right? Rakim was a general, he was a presidential candidate, and he was a black leader. And that was the first time that I had saw the representation of a black man in that type of light, that I recall that it really sparked my mind. You talking about me being 12, 13 maybe. I don't remember what year the video came out. So yeah, that was positive. And brother say Arrested Development, Queen Latifah. I don't mention Queen Latifah because I knew somebody that knew Dana, so I knew her, what she was on way back in the day. So I don't mention Dana Owens that often. But Yeah, the UNITY song though was, it was a dope song. Tretch might have wrote it because Tretch used to write some of her stuff. Shout out to Treacherous MC. He's a wild dude. Anyway, but once we got dragged into it, the negativity, the disrespect about women, the degeneracy, the barbarity, the debauchery, the glorification of drug use and drug selling, like everything negative that was going on or thought or they wanted to go on was put into hip hop and has led us down the garden trail of destruction. Sister Naja, you got anything to add to that?
Once again, like from the last slide, I'm only looking at it from the most, the modern current day situation, looking backwards, and we living pretty much at the end of the pits of hell. Basically, it's to the point where I don't even know if in order for things to change, of course, we would have to be able to take back power of the quote unquote industry, or at the very least, dissolve the industry in some kind of way. And then from there, we can start to, because it's not like the music is all terrible. It's just that we can't hear the good music. They only let us listen to like what's on the radio and things. Those are selected for a specific purpose. And even when there's an artist that wants to put something good out, from what I'm hearing, it's just like that the answer is no. You're just not even allowed to put or to create music that would be positive. And like what you were saying earlier, as far as the black exploitation thing, was this caricature of people doing things just for the money. Well, it's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000 times worse, because it is literally, black people saying, I don't see black, I only see green. Celebrities saying that, yes, but then also the everyday person that just wants to be a celebrity of sorts. We got children that see, either sports or rap as the only way to, get that quick. Well, now sports, rap, and streaming, right? And the streaming is no good either, because that's just, I'm gonna do anything in front of the camera for some views, which is not a positive thing. But yeah, we got the youth that shoot the youth, and even some adults that use all of their time for the studio and for the stew, trying to come up off this next song. You just need one song to go viral, and it's yeah, like I said, it's just really depressing. It's just really depressing.
Yeah, greetings to brother Neteru Kemet and Straight Black Pride. Yeah, I mean, this is the reality of what it is. And if you haven't lived long enough, you don't remember that there was a time before hip hop and black people acted a certain way, and there's certain things that we didn't do, we didn't say. You didn't play certain music around the children. I remember when I was young, like when the Isley Brothers and some of the other stuff used to come on. When you were a child, that meant it was time for you to either go to bed or leave, right? Because the grown folks were about to play the grown folks music. They was about to turn on the red light and break out the slit smoke liquor bull and some of the other stuff that they was drinking. Cavassier and some of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The old school players, they know what I'm talking about, right? So I was a little kid. So when they started playing that certain music, right? During the day, yeah, it was Frankie Beverly and Maze and all that. But at night, when the Isleys and Temptations and some of them other people came on, it's time for the children to go to bed or leave. You know what I'm saying? So we don't shield our children anymore. We play the N-word music, blasted in front of they we blast them with it when they in the womb, and little girls is out here dancing to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and repeating the lyrics, and it's oh man, it's just anyway, we in bad shape. Let me move on to the next slide. We about to close out shortly. Um Hip hop and drugs become a 1-2 punch. In the late 1970s, a new drug emerges from the West Coast consisting of cooked cocaine and other elements. No, I'm not going to go into details. Later, a former Nicaraguan politician named Oscar Danilo Blandon began supplying Los Angeles native Freeway Ricky Ross with cheap cocaine. Ross would go on to supply some of LA's gangs, and the gangs expanded to places like Nebraska, Chicago, Houston, and many other cities. And of course, we know that Oscar Danilo Blandon was a CIA asset, and we talked a little bit about that yesterday in our live stream that was virtually banned. Shout out to YouTube for banning Gary Webb. So if you ever read Gary Webb's book Dark Alliance, that has all the information in that. Also, by the 1990s, drug dealing became even more popular as rappers spun tales glorifying local drug dealers and even talk about their history in the drug game. By the late 1990s, drug culture is the primary topic of mainstream rap, and the original spirit of hip hop is largely lost to commercialization. Sister Najee, you have anything to add to this?
No, not particularly. I mean, you just went fully in depth on drug culture yesterday, so that's that.
Yeah, for those that didn't watch yesterday's live stream, yeah, I guess you could argue that in many ways it is a prelude to today's. So these two do kind of go hand in hand. And Brother Crow said King Cobra was popular back in the day. King Cobra, Cisco, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff, man. And I don't remember ever seeing this stuff, but y'all remember Sanford and Son used to talk about Ripple. I don't even know what that is, man. But yeah, apparently that was a thing too, or he made it up. I don't know. But next up, we asked a question, and somebody had jumped ahead. Who was that? Alpha that jumped ahead. Who benefited from our destruction? Let's take a look at that. The urban record industry became supposed to say came to be dominated by such men as Lyre Cohen, Clive Davis, and Edgar Bronfman Jr. They determined the course that hip hop and R&B took starting in the 90s and moving forward. All of these men happened to be Jewish. The crack epidemic fueled the private prison industry. The epidemic was lengthened by hip hop. Organizations like BlackRock and Vanguard, which happen to have Jewish CEOs and Jewish investors, are major investors in the private prison industry. Black people being dysfunctional also eliminates us from being economically competitive with other groups in America. You have anything for that, sister?
I had almost forgotten how we were going to end up with the ultimate problem. But I'm glad that you brought it up. I missed Brother Alpha mentioning it, but yes, this is, you really could have started with this for real, for real. This could have been a 5-minute show if you had just kind of done it in that way. But yes, the who benefited from our destruction, you could take this slide and go back for all the previous slides and apply it. Hip hop, black exploitation, schooling, like almost every slide.
Absolutely. But I have to bring documentation and show and prove. What the people used to say in school: show your work. I had to show my work. I couldn't just go around slinging accusations. So, you have anything else before I go to the next slide?
No, please do.
All right. And conclusion: as Black men, we are ultimately responsible for the condition of our communities. We have to admit that over the last 30 years or so, we have failed miserably as a collective. The ironic thing is that many Black men pledged during the Million Man March to dedicate their lives to be better men and to build a better community. Our enemies took every opportunity after that day to make sure that that vow was not fulfilled by the masses of Black men. Psychological warfare in the form of hip hop, daytime shows like Jerry Springer, and feminist propaganda warped the minds of Black people as a collective. Economic warfare in the form of offshoring of factories and the closing of trade schools devastated black men's financial prospects. Ultimately, all of this chipped away at the black family, leading to the situation that we have today. You have anything for that, sister?
No, because it is a concise conclusion.
All right. Well, brothers and sisters, Sister Najee didn't have a lot to interject today. Which y'all know what that means. That means next week's show is going to largely be up to her. So she already has a subject that she wants to talk about, but I said I wanted to push that back a little bit and get into this. So again, I'm your host DC Radical One. This is SBL Talk. You can follow me on Instagram, and some of you are actually watching from Instagram. The shout out to the Instagram family. Again, on Instagram is dc.radical1. The email is dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. You can follow me on OTW2, which is a black owned platform, at DC Radical One. On Twitter at dc.radical_1, no, _ONE, excuse me. And you can donate via Cash App if you enjoyed this show or you got any information that you did not know. And to keep the show running, show your appreciation, $ DC Radical One. And you can donate via Zelle using the email dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. And as for my sister, let them know where they can find you on social media.
It would be at Nefernaje on Instagram, Twitch, and Rumble. On Cash App is $NEFERNAJAI. My website is realkkkkk.com, where I discuss the scientific solution to sovereignty. I think we did have a topic for next week, but at this point, it's just really becoming a little too depressing. And I think what you told me is you didn't want me to do that topic this week because it was going to run away all of the women. So I don't know if you still feel that way, if we're still not going to do that topic. But to this point, we
No,
just got to keep it pushing.
yeah, no, we can do that topic if you should feel. I just wanted to bring some balance, and I wanted to get us out of. I wanted to divert us from possibly getting into the finger pointing at each other and getting ultimately to the root of our enemies trying to destroy us, because that's what we avoid saying. Like, so let me just say this real quick. What inspired this is I saw a lot of brothers talking about the black women born to the feminism, and the black women did this and the black women did that, but not addressing what we have contributed via hip hop, via being in music, via not addressing sexual abuse in the black community, etc., etc., etc.
Just not
So
standing up as men to correct the course. If you see an issue, it is within your power to now correct it. So you complaining about it just goes to show you don't even see yourself as a solutionary. What are you even a man to be able to correct? And I understand that it becomes a thing of, we're up under the white man, da 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 da, but you can't even correct behavior within your household. That's on you.
well, I don't even think the men are talking about their household. They're just talking about what they see. Because a lot of, from what I see, a lot of the men that are making the complaints, they don't have wives. Now maybe they have children or maybe they don't. But so there's no one under their dominion, and these are the ones that saying it's not. They don't feel like making the investment in building a household. So that is what it is. You still were put on this planet to fight evil. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I look at it that if you're born into a time of evil and you're born from a righteous people, you were born to fight evil. That's the only reason why you're here.
Right.
Now, maybe I'm just making up stuff in my mind or whatever, but that's the way I look at it. So, You can either accept the job that you accepted in the spiritual realm, or you know what I'm saying, or not. That choice is up to you. So, and Brother Crow says we have too many cowards in our community.
Too many.
Can't argue with that part. You cannot argue with that part.
Too many.
So, sister, you got anything you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, I it's kind of difficult um to stay away from the finger pointing aspect of it unless I think if we center on the solutions, which ultimately is that we're, like you said, we're supposed to be fighting evil. Family is the army. Um, Children are the way. If we focus on that, then it's always going to be a looking back and not pointing fingers at one side or the other, but pointing fingers at both and saying, look, ultimately, this is a call for you to step up, stop being a coward, and take accountability for whatever your household situation is, and slowly but surely we'll start getting to the community level. What you said earlier in the show is, as far as pessimism goes, we could just kind of chalk it up to everybody has already decided to give up, because that's really what it looks like. Is everybody's already decided that the issue is not, it's not their issue, it's not my issue. This is above my, above my pay grade. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then what we're doing with Straight Black Love Talk really would be just talking to those of us that are already sane and trying to come up with solutions amongst ourselves. So that's really the only two options I see moving forward.
Yeah, and I will say this: the channel has been growing as far as subscribers, and I'm gonna just let y'all know now. 2026 will we plan on doing some expansion of what we're doing, expansion the SBL talk brand, and doing live events again. So that is on the horizon. So if you've been following me for a long time, I was doing events with Straight Black Pride before I ever got into this YouTube thing or anything like that. I was doing lectures before I was doing the YouTube thing. So um, just give us some time to get some things together, get some ducks in a row, and you'll see the expansion of this brand and um, some solutions that will be brought to the people, and we'll see who is serious and who isn't by how we do those things. So, um, let's see, brother KW Dawn says there's a sector of black males who call the black community a matriarchy or a gynocracy. Yeah, I have seen that. And brother Vincent Ali says, I let every black man who complain about our community, I let them know it's us as black men. It's our fault. We got to do better. Yeah, I mean, hey, you know, that's it right there. Like, and I'm gonna say this, because there's a lot of talk about our women being disrespectful, and our women are disrespectful. But I'm gonna say this part. A lot of the reason why our women are disrespectful, and it's not even that they know it in their conscious mind, it's in their subconscious mind, is because they look at us like a bunch of cowards because we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to deal with Urugu. We don't want to deal with these hats. We don't want to deal with nobody. But at the same time, we can shoot up the neighborhood. And our women look at that and they say, well, if they big and bad and can fight each other and kill each other and kill women and children and babies and burn down stuff and shoot and blow up stuff and all this, but they ain't laying no hands on no non-black people, it must be because they scared. And they right. And that's all to it. And we can sugarcoat this thing we want to, but the reality of the situation is when it comes to dealing with non-black people, most black men are cowards. Point blank period. Argue amongst yourselves. You know what I'm saying? You can't prove nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Unless your name is Micah Xavier Johnson or Cosmo September or something like that. we don't even want to use harsh language against our enemies.
Facts.
So yeah, I mean, anyway, I had this dude that's walking up to me pushing some Christianity, and I just told him, man, look, man, your God can't do nothing for me because he ain't do nothing during slavery. So tell me what he was doing during slavery. And he got all flustered and mad. And I ain't gonna lie, I went off on him. I screamed on him because I was irritated and disgusted, man. I was disgusted, and I'm still disgusted. And when I asked him about slavery, he ain't had nothing to say, man. With that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, DC Radical One. And with that, we say, you want to say it together, sister?
A BB for ODA.
The B for ODA and straight
black
pride.
Right.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.